Welcome all. It was a long time for the Malware for Fun playlist on my YouTube channel that I've uploaded actually a new video. So it was a long time. It's good to be back. So here today I will go and randomly choose a malware sample that I will try to do my best and do a deep dive into it. So I will go to MalwareBazaar and choose any kind of malware sample from there, and we'll do a deep dive on this. Okay, so here I'm wrote here in MalwareBazaar. So basically here I have the several files, CLF, Maho, and here I see an exe file. Actually, see it's WannaCry. You know what? Let's go for this one. It was uploaded today actually. No, like it's Saturday, several days ago. Seems to be kind of a new form. Let's see if it's actually WannaCry or something else. So I don't always believe the tags. Sometimes the tags and the detections are not so precise. I don't really care. So let's see what we have here. So if we go to the Yara tab, we can see many things that are related to WannaCry. So we see many YAR rules that are detecting this is WannaCry and other stuff. Let's see. Others that say that it's Golang and do some kind of debugger check and stuff like this. So let's just download the sample and see what it has inside. Or the password is infected. Here I just want to validate that I use the NAT network. Of course, it's best to use VMNet and route all the traffic through another virtual machine like inetSIM, Remnux, something like this. And the inetSIM itself to route through your actual gateway at your home. So it will be much more secure, but I will here use NAT. So let me export it to the desktop. And okay, so let's see the file. Okay, so first of all, I want to see, do xview using HxD. Okay, we'll widen it up here a little bit. Okay, so we see MZ, this program cannot be run in DOS mode. And we see it has the P header, the text section, data, P data. It has P data, so maybe the attacker didn't actually omit the debug symbols. So it's interesting to see if there's something that we can search for, maybe in the strings or something like this. Let's continue here, see maybe if the malware is actually packed or something like this. And I'm not really sure if it's even a malware. Sometimes it can be even a false positive, but because here I go randomly select sample from MalwareBazaar, so you need to validate some stuff first. You know what? Let me even upload it to VirusTotal and see what it gives us. Okay, so it's a kind of like a full confidence here with what we see regarding detections of other EDRs, antivirus, and security vendors. We see CVE 2017, and let's search for the CVE. Okay, so it's basically MS1710 of EternalBlue, the well-known SMB exploit vulnerability that was exploited using the original, used by the original WannaCry that was spread. So interesting to see it. Yeah, so, and we see it's also a Trojan dropper and other detection names. Can go here to relations, see if there are any interesting relations. We can again continue to do some threat intelligence, see if this IP, for example, you see this IP address, it seems to be like clean, like zero detection, but it's not so clean. First of all, we have a community score. We see that a lot of people just put it as negative. Okay, so it's actually you know, the fact that people put it as negative, again, doesn't really mean it's actually malicious, but the fact that the malware has kind of relation, again, if you found that it's actually malware and it has some relation to this IP, so it's kind of problematic. Now, if we go to relations tab, we see this IP has more relations to like other malware. So if we go here, let's for example see this I don't know, let's go to this Discord exe malware and see. So here we see different exploit, different CVE, maybe different stuff. Again, it's really interesting to see. Based on my experience, most of the times when you see an IP address, public IP address like this, Cloudflare or Amazon or something like this, and it has 0 detections, it doesn't really mean it's, it's clean. It is probably suspicious and maybe even malicious. Okay, especially if you validate and you see that there is actual communication. The malware actually communicates to this IP while using Wireshark or kind of IPS IDs that you have on your network or whatever. And you see, and external going communication to this IP. Maybe a sample is downloaded. Maybe it's just a sanity check to see if there is an internet connectivity. For the malware to check that the victim machine is actually connected to the internet. So again, it's something worth checking. Don't base your decisions only by this by the detection rate, basically. Okay. So if we go to behavior, we can see it tries to do some system discovery. I think the fact that we have very low TTPs here and with some, software discovery, sandbox evasion, stuff like this, maybe it's actually packed, or it has some anti-debugging or anti-VM techniques, and yeah, maybe it's actually a dropper or something. So we'll see. So I need to sign in to actually view all this information. So from what I see here, it uses CMD, and then there is a execution of a DLL called any DLL. So I believe that this DLL is dropped or something, and then it's loaded with run DLL or something like this. There is another DLL called attachment DLL. So it's something that's worthwhile to actually see and to inspect on our analysis. So really interesting. So I think we can go and actually, so from what I see here, it's actually a DLL file for itself. Again, let's validate it on our locally on our premise. So if we go, let's go to CFF Explorer and see. It's kind of an old software, but I like it because it's kind of straightforward. It gives you whether it's 64 32-bit and even more, basic information, stuff like this. So let's even use Studio and see what else we can understand about this malware. Let it do its initial analysis. We see an export called launcher DLL, so it's kind of interesting. And it's a console subsystem, so we will not expect to have some kind of a GUI or something like this. We see that it's a dynamic link library and a 64-bit. Okay. Interestingly, P Studio says it's a dynamic link library, but here we see .exe. Again, maybe because it's just uploaded as in .exe file by whoever uploaded this file. Either it can be an automated sandbox or some analyst uploaded it. So in order to actually validate it, let's open up IDA Pro. Okay, you can even use IDA free. It doesn't really matter. Our IDA Pro is the best. Of course, you can use Ghidra or Cutter or whatever binary ninja, whatever disassembler debugger you want to use. It's your choice. By the way, before I decide to check here the LoadResource, I always like to go to Resource Hacker and see if there is an interesting resource. Hey, we found something. We actually found there is an MZ, so there is an EP file inside. So it's a very typical behavior for WannaCry, because the original WannaCry also hid its next stage payload inside the resource section and then dropped it. So kind of now it's understandable what it does. If we go to manifest, it's just zeros, garbage of zeros. So again, here we have the MZ file. By the way, we can just go and do save bin resource, something like this. But for now, let me just validate. Let us just focus here. So let's do load resources. And here, let me just go and change the, I'd like to change the colors to dark. Yeah, because we are cybersecurity ninjas, bros. So we like to work like this. Most of the people I know in cybersecurity and development, for some reason, for my own preferences to use the black team. I don't know, maybe it's some kind of a psychology thing. By the way, it makes my eyes also calmer and much more focused. This, in my opinion. So yeah, we see the first thing that we see is DLL main. So it's a great, actually great sign that it's actually a DLL. If we go to imports, we'll see many imports, and if we go to exports, we actually have an export. It's called play game, whatever. Okay, this is the only export that we have. Of course, we have the DLL entry point, which is the default one for a DLL, and then another export. If we go to play game, and then we see here something mssec svr exe. Let's see, actually, we see that, yeah, so it will go to this mssec. Oh, and then here we see it will use the FindResource, LoadResource, SizeofResource, Windows API functions, then do CreateFile, WriteFile. So here it actually will go and drop a file. Okay, so here we can rename it. So even before we do this, let me go back to the VirusTotal and see if there is something in the behavior tab. Interestingly, this exe file is not shown here for some reason. Again, maybe because it has some anti-sandbox techniques that it was applied, so it actually evaded most of the sandbox inspection functionalities. So we see here this file. So let's see what else. So basically, this is the dropping function. So dropping here, we'll rename it here and see we have only one function. It's a very unique function, as we see, and then it will do CreateProcess, and the application name of itself will be stored in the ECX, and we'll see also that it has the creation flag here, and basically, yep. So it will execute, probably it will execute the dropped file that we saw. So we can also inspect it. We'll do here a breakpoint if we want to inspect it, and again here execution here. Okay, so we see basically now I want to see if there are more of those of the use of LoadResource, for example, because if there is more use of LoadResource in another place in this code, in this malware, we can rest assured that there will be more files that will be dropped to the file system. So let's do X for cross reference, and yet we actually see only one use. So probably this will be the file that will be dropped, and I believe that it will be this file. So in typical WannaCry cases, it was using like it was exported this next stage dropped file was exported and dropped to the file system using the same functionality, but with a zip protected password. So basically inside the resource itself, okay, inside the resource itself, we will see something interesting. We will see that we have a zip encrypted, zip protected file, and inside the zip protected file we saw like another p files and something like this. Okay, so it's a little bit different. I think that this is the reason why it's actually detected as WannaCry. But if we'll do like search inside here for WannaCry, for example, this is a very typical string that you can find in WannaCry. We don't see it here. Maybe it's in a different place. Again, maybe it's a different malware. So let me see. Okay. If we go here to the blacklisted flags, we see okay, all of those are the blacklisted Windows API functions. I will put also 4 of those functions also as a blacklist, potential if it's possible in the software, of course. The author of the software, by the way, Mark, is one of the best analysts and software developers that I know. And yeah, this is software. If you can even pay for the pro version, it will be much better. It will help him to continue the development of this amazing tool. Let's see regarding indicators. Okay, so we see some indicators. Let's see, we have the data section, which is writable. The text is executable, not something special here. The imports again can be also not something very special. And in the resource we see that the file ratio, it's big. It's most of the file is the resource section itself, which we see the MZ here. So this is the main thing here. Now, what we can do actually is go here in 2 ways. Either we can go here and export the resource itself like this, save bin resource, and save it as something.bin. Let's call it .bin for now. Here we go with the file, and then we can just continue and analyze it. And let's see. Oh, interesting. We have here this added appended data, which will make the file not work. So if you try to double click this file, it will break. So it's yet another interesting trick that I saw in WannaCry in the later versions of WannaCry, like let's say 1 year after the original WannaCry incident. I saw some or several of the samples using this technique to actually evade sandbox detections and even evade novice analysts. So yeah, and here I think it's yet another dropper. I have a feeling of this, like it seems like this. I don't know. Let's validate it empirically. So here also, let me actually go to do detected easy. Here I will use detected easy just to see if it's packed or not. Let me try to change the extension maybe to exe. I know why it didn't, as you can see, it didn't successfully load. It didn't load it to the program. By the way, if I try to, let's say, open it up in CFF Explorer, maybe here it will work, but it will not read it correctly. It will break it. Why did it break? Because of the fact that we have here this in the start. So if we will remove it, like this, and save it, Now let's just validate it. Now it's actually okay. Now we can rest assured that it will be open, even if it's .bin, by the way. Let's change it to .bin. Detect it easy. .bin, and yeah, it seems like if we do entropy, we see that we have, again, we have the resource section which is packed. Again, it's not overall, it's not packed, but we have one section, the resource section, that is packed. So we will probably find yet another dropped file or something like this. So again, we can go to resource hacker in this case, and here, oh, we have yet another version of this. And I think it will go on and on and on and on like this for several iterations, let's say. Let me also save this one and validate the behavior here. You can, of course, dynamically just execute the malware and see what is the actual final dropped file and analyze this one. Again, let's do HxD. Here we don't have this trick in the start. Interesting. Let's see what we have here. And let's validate it with detect it easy again. See if it's packed or not. We'll check the resource section again. Again, go to entropy. And we see here we have, no, it's not actually packed. So I think this is the last dropped file. Here, let's drop it, load it on CFF Explorer. And here we see it's actually a 32-bit P file. Even you know what, let's open it up in P Studio. Here we see it's a subsystem GUI, 32-bit, and this, in this case, is actually an executable and not a DLL file, as we saw earlier. Oh, we do have something in the resource section. Wait a second, let me again go to detected easy. Here we see interestingly, in detected easy, we see that the resource section is like not packed, so-called. So yeah, we see the same entropy, but the file ratio. So here, this is something that I really like about P Studio. It has this file ratio functionality, the size functionality, and it actually shows you. Sometimes it even shows you and helps you see things that even, you know, detected easy can show you regarding whether it's packed or not, you know, based on the entropy value. So here we see that it's actually the resource section, but it's not packed. So again, here it could be easily evaded by a known, by a known, you know, experienced eye, or by a very basic detection mechanism or EDR. Okay, so let's open it up in resource hacker again. Here we have this XIA section, and here we have a PK. This is again a very, and here we see the WannaCry. Here we have this WannaCry string, and it's a PK magic number, so it's a zip file, and it's probably encrypted, and you know, the regular WannaCry stuff. For those of you that know how WannaCry, the original WannaCry and the next variants of WannaCry actually work. So here again, it's actually a dropper, so let me rename it to .exe or .ex for now, and open yet another instance of IDA. Can do LoadResource here. But now it's the regular WannaCry malware. We see that we have the original password. By the way, and I don't know why they don't change the password, change some stuff. I don't know. It's like, you know, attackers just take the original ransomware, they wrap it up, for most of the time it works for them. They don't need to do too much changes. It just shows you how today's security controls, EDRs and antivirus are not enough, especially with AI. Now this can be generated with AI like nothing and wrapped with in different ways and stuff like this. So here is the, you know, the password, the WannaCry. Then here, this is the subroutine with the LoadResource, FindResource, LoadResource, LockResource, SizeofResource. Then it's actually all of those regular WannaCry files are exported, dropped to the file system. And I think it's kind of, you know, we can wrap it up here. And we actually was focused on the dropping mechanism of those WannaCry droppers. And also we saw some interesting tricks that make software like Detected Easy, CFF Explorer and others to break, because we saw the addition of the MZ header, you know, the added garbage bytes. Yeah, so I think it's enough for today. See you in the next videos. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great week ahead.